Hey everybody, Star641 here, and welcome to the next video of the Months of Key. For this one, we are going to take a look back at Kanon 2006. Now, I've been very interested in my opinions on this anime ever since doing my Kanon 02 review. I want to know if my opinions of the show would hold up. I thought it was a pretty good anime and really enjoyed it. Though my opinions hold up on it, well, let's take a look. First up, the story. I think the story is actually my biggest problem with Kanon 2006. Unfortunately, unlike in my previous review where I thought the story was actually pretty good, I do not think it holds up as well. The first arc felt like it really dragged on. Might be for other reasons, which I'll get into in a minute, but I felt the first arc really dragged on and was just like, come on already, end. But I gotta say, around the episode 10 mark, it does start to get better and better. And then the final arc happens where I think the tone of the show really needs to be checked over again. Because I feel like the tone of the final few episodes could range between happy and, oh my god, this is depressing and kinda cruel. Seriously, the tone of the show was sporadic at best at times, but the final few episodes, especially that ending theme, make it a lot worse. Yeah, I got some problems with the story. I mean, in the middle, I actually really like it and think it's really well done. But it's the beginning and the ending parts of the story I'm not that fond of. And don't get me started on the ending where it's like, I don't even know what to think of that. I really don't. I can't talk too much more about without giving away spoilers, but what the hell do I think of this ending? Moving on. Next up is the characters, and they're not holding up much better. Yuichi is still a dick. No, I am not kidding. I still think of him as a large, ginormous dick. Which is odd because, in some ways, he's the kindest of the three Kyoto Annie Trinity of the main protagonists. Yuichi's probably both the kindest and the biggest dick. How the hell does that work? Makes me annoyed. Ayu has also grown a little more annoying since watching her for 24 episodes again. I don't know what it is, I just think she's grown a tad bit more annoying. Not by much though, I still like her character and all, just a little more annoying. Nayuki's not much better, but really my opinion on Nayuki really has not changed. I think she's still a decent character and that's about it. My opinions on Makoto have worsened greatly. I admit that Yuichi can be a dick, but she can be a real bitch when she wants to be, and a lot of it just comes off as even worse than Yuichi. I think she's part of the reason I really didn't like the first 10 episodes that much, comedy aside. One thing, though, I'll give the show, my opinions of Shiori and the side character Sayuri have improved greatly. I actually like them more the second time round than I did the first. Although everyone else kind of suffers for it, I like them less than I did before. Even my favorite character the first time round through, Mai, who I do not like as much. Overall, the characters themselves are a mixed bag in my opinion. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Next up is the animation. I'm gonna say this right now, for giving Kyoto Annie some credit, I will say that their animation is really good and top-notch once again. Great job. No complaints. The music is pretty good for the most part. The OST, I find some of the tracks very unmemorable and not really that great, but the few that are good in here are really good. And I don't mind the opening, even if I do think it's the weakest of the key openings. At least the Key Kyo Trinity, at the very least. And I don't like the ending theme. Moving on. Before we end this off, I do want to make 2 final notes. One is my opinion on the romance, which I stated, I think, previously that I didn't really like the romance when I first watched the show. I can now honestly say I think it's a lot better than I thought it was. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think the romance is actually better the second time through, because when looking back on it, it felt believable and genuine. But it took me a second watch through to get me that way. The only other part I have to mention is the dub, which I still like. No complaints. Chris Patton does a great job, and the entire cast does a great job. Overall, this look back is the first one that I can say has a bit more of a negative perspective. I mean, don't get me wrong, Kanon 06 is not a bad anime. Not at all. I just don't think it's held up as well as I thought it did. And it does make me worried for future watch-throughs for another certain Kyoto show, but we'll get to that later. Overall, it's a good show. I still recommend it, but it's not held up as well the second time through. I give Kanon 06 a 7 out of 10. It's a pretty good show. I still recommend it, but I don't think it holds up well on multiple watch-throughs after seeing this. Anyways, that's all from me. This has been Star 6 Wars 1, and I'll see you guys next time.